Okay, welcome back to day three, guys. So what we're going to be doing today is going through trig review and chain rule review. Essential questions here, and obviously exit ticket is going to be your upload to the Google form that hopefully you've been doing over the last couple days. So there's just going to be two videos today. This first one will go through some trigonometry derivatives and we'll have one where we use the chain rule. And then on the second video, there's going to be a little bit lengthier trig rule problem or example that you can use hopefully to help you out on your practice today. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just start with a basic trig problem here. So I'm going to say f of x as my first example is equal to tangent x times cosine x. Okay, and if you can, look back in your notes and try to look for where we wrote down all of our trig derivatives. Okay, there was a specific derivative for cosine, sine, secant, cosecant, tangent, cotangent. If you can't find those notes, you could always just go to Google and type in trig derivatives and they'll tell you what each one is, but essentially you're going to need that to do this type of problem. Okay, so obviously this is a product rule problem. Let's say this is my f, this is my g. So product rule is f prime g plus f times g prime. So again, let me just write that here because I know it's been a while since we've done this stuff consistently. Okay, so derivative of tangent, again, if you look in your notes or if you look it up on Google, derivative of tangent is going to be secant squared x. My g is just cosine x. Plus my f is tangent, and my g prime, derivative of cosine, is negative sine x. Okay, and this is f prime we're looking for. So at this point, you just got to take a step back and say, is there any like terms I can combine? Is there anything I can factor out? Any common denominators or fractions I have to add together or anything like that? And at this point, I'm looking at it. There's nothing that I can really factor out here. What I might do is just change this over and maybe bring that negative sign out or that minus sign out just so it's a little bit cleaner. Okay, so this is about as far as you can go with this one. This one was kind of basic. Okay, so that's like a basic derivative problem with trigonometry. Okay, so that'll be our first example. Let's do another example with trig, only let's have to use the chain rule. So this one's going to be a little bit shorter, and then the next video will be a little bit more complicated. So the chain rule was if we're able to break something up into a function within a function, right? The chain rule was f prime of g times g prime. Okay, hopefully that sounds a little bit familiar to you. I know it's been 4 or 5 months, but that was the chain rule. Okay, and the chain rule was essentially used when we could break things up into two separate pieces or two separate functions. For example, we won't use this one for this example, but if I had something like, I'm just picking something, 3x to the 4th plus 1 all raised to the 5th, for example, and let's say we wanted to take the derivative of this, we can't just take the derivative of that inside because we'd be completely ignoring this out here. So there's a strategy that we used to deal with this. Again, if you have a function inside of an outside function, okay? And way back when we first started this, we would off to the side, we'd have our f, our g, we'd have our f prime, our g prime, and we'd write all this out. Essentially all it was taking the exponent out front, rewriting the inside, so that's this piece, and then subtracting 1, and then taking the derivative of the inside. Okay, so I'll do kind of an example more like that on my next video, but for this one, I just want to stick to a basic trig problem. Okay, so hopefully that last 30 seconds there just kind of brought back a few reminders. So let's try this. Let's find the derivative of f of x is equal to cosine squared x. Okay. The big thing to remember here is whenever you're squaring a trig function, whether it's sine or tangent or cosine, when it's squared, you're saying that there's two of them. Cosine and cosine is cosine squared. Another way that you can write this that's really going to help you use the chain rule is this is the same thing as writing cosine x to the second. Okay, these two are the same thing. Okay, it's just a different way of writing it. Okay, so the chain rule is, I'm going to take the derivative, f prime of x. Let me just scoot this up a little bit. I'm going to take the derivative of the outside. So I'm going to go 2, and I'm going to leave the inside, cosine x, and then I would subtract, just so I show you what I'm doing here, I would subtract 1 from the exponent, okay, times the derivative of the inside. So that's going to be negative sine x, okay? Please feel free to rewind that, back it up, slow it down, just whatever you need to do. That is essentially the chain rule. We take our exponent, bring it out front, keep the inside, we still subtract 1, times the derivative of the inside. Okay? In the past, again, we always used to set up our f, our g, our f prime, our g prime. We kind of got to the point at the end of the try where we didn't have to do that anymore because this was the chain. I mean, we were able to take it pretty quickly. There's nothing I can really simplify here. Again, one more time, the only thing that I would probably do is just bring this negative out front, and don't really need a 1 there. It's implied. So this is our answer. Okay? All right. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Again, once you're ready, go to the next video, and we'll do a little bit more complicated chain rule examples there to help you through your practice problems today.